Hello everyone, you're welcome to this edition of the 6 p.m. prime time newscast on Equinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bable Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, 3 persons have been buried in mud in Mbo Hinterland in the Nguti subdivision, Kupe Moninkuba division, southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. The incident occurred following heavy downpour that hit that part of the southwest region of the country. And also in this newscast we'll be talking about the National Armed Forces that are stepping up security in the Faro division, Adamawa region of the Republic of Cameroon, as a result of increasing cross-border crimes in that part of the country, which covers a portion of the long border between Cameroon and Nigeria. We begin this newscast in Mbo Hinterland in the Nguti subdivision, Kupe Moninkuba division, southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, where 3 persons have been buried in mud following a mud flow provoked by heavy downpours in that part of the country. And the situation is quite disturbing. Several farmlands have been destroyed. Roads have equally been damaged by the heavy downpour and its consequences. Details with Smart Njikan Gabriel.
Inhabitants of the Mbo Hinterland in Nguti subdivision are in distress. The heavy downpour which occurred recently has left the 7 villages that make up Upper Nkongombo and the 3 villages of Nkongombeng inaccessible. An entire plantain farm was destroyed by the mud flow.
Don't go also for valley. Now say for down there. See cable line how we sleep for that side. Now say on 2 eye. Even at way they will tell you even at way they talk now for mop.
A cocoa farm.
A Symbion Lawrence, now your own farm this way. Water carry your own cocoa farm. Now some pot cocoa then this way Nabnakam with cocoa. Now the farm cocoa that for down there. Now the Landslide that way carry cocoa farm.
And several houses destroyed, leaving many persons homeless.
My family this now you wear the house, your own house getting spoiled and all. Water don't carry all house. It is so we family now for road. Yes, all a farm, all thing. Water don't spoil and this kind of two happen. So never ever experience them from better.
The road leading to the 10 villages have also been cut off, and now a temporal but dangerous bridge has been made.
Now see bridge where village people don't can't tie for here. They don't can't tie bridge so that people fit try the pass. First in history from Congoland for tie bridge for some place where water need the pass. We never ever see the kind thing. We not see rock. Now rock this so. O caterpillar go do na how. We don't know.
As a result of the mud flow, 3 persons died at Lebog village. The population is now looking up to goodwill people and the government to come to their rescue.
In a similar story, the bridge linking Makepe Misoke in the Douala 5 subdivision and Saint-Tropez has been taken away by heavy rains. And of course, this was during the heavy rains that hit the town of Douala last Friday, provoking heavy floods in several parts of the town. The floods in Makepe Misoke was quite heavy, and several homes were overwhelmed by water. Several roads simply cut off as a result of the heavy runoff that was flowing through that part of the country's economic capital, and the bridge linking Makepe Misoke and Saint-Tropez was simply carried away. Details with Manjigan Gabriel once more.
It takes a whole lot of energy for one to cross over to the next neighborhood after the bridge linking the two neighborhoods was taken away by water on August 21, 2020. We are at the Makepe neighborhood where the link between Saint-Tropez and Misoke has been broken as the bridge is no longer there.
Voilà un grand pont comme ça qui relie deux quartiers. Chaque fois on prend les morceaux, le quartier c'est de bruit à mettre les morceaux de bois.
This is a big bridge that links two neighborhoods. All of the time we look for wood to arrange it by contributing money. Not too long we started a bridge that even cars passed on it, but heavy runoff took it away. People now move on pipe and fall inside water. We recently removed a man who fell and died.
Porter le pont entièrement pour partir, nous sommes là, on vit très mal. Voilà les gens qui traversent sur le tuyau que vous voyez là. Ils tombent même dans l'eau. Hier, on a retiré un corps ici là dans l'eau.
The pipe that was placed by the company in charge of water is now serving as a bridge to these inhabitants. But again, it's dangerous because recently a man slipped off the pipe and fell inside the water. He later gave up the ghost. As a result of the absence of the bridge linking Makepe Misoke and Saint-Tropez, the inhabitants are forced to pay 300 francs CFA on commercial motorcycles for someone living from one end to the other end of the neighborhood. They are all calling on government to intervene.
Le gouvernement devait vraiment.
We are in danger, so automatically the government is supposed to take care of us. If it goes worst today, we are finished.
Si ça vient, peut-être on fuit pour aller de l'autre côté, ou peut-être en bas ou en haut, on ne sait pas comment on va fuir parce que c'est grave.
Recently, the Minister of Territorial Administration was in Douala, where he visited and handed gifts to some flood victims in the locality. Unfortunately, these inhabitants say they were left out.
Je viens d'apprendre qu'on a partagé,
I just heard about the distribution of basic commodities to flood victims. They forgot us in this zone. They informed us late in the night.
19h30, 20h qu'on a distribué les matelas et tout. Nous n'étions pas au courant. Personne n'a rien eu ici de ce côté.
The population is now calling on the municipal authorities and government to act fast.
Insecurity caused by floods, and from that report we are taking you now to the Adamawa region of the Republic of Cameroon, where there is equally insecurity caused by separatists or not separatists, Boko Haram militants and other criminals who are crossing into Cameroon from Nigeria, from neighboring Nigeria. And this problem is recurrent and very serious in the Faru division in the Adamawa region of the country. And the division covers a section of the 1,975-kilometer Cameroon-Nigeria border running from the Tree-Point with Chad in the north to the Atlantic Ocean in the south. Cross-border crimes are recurrent in Tigné and other parts of the Faru division, and this is why the Cameroon Army is stepping up security measures across that administrative unit. 2 generals, colonels, and other top military officials were recently in that part of the country. For that purpose, they were in Tigné meeting with administrative authorities in view of enhancing security measures along the border between Cameroon and Nigeria. Now, for greater details, take a listen to General Aga Robinson.
We came down today to this town of Tigné to analyze the operations ongoing in this area, and also to have a working session with all the stakeholders of this area, the administrative authorities, the traditional rulers, and the population at large. We also wanted to find out about the situation at our borders, and that what we have put down, the strategy we have mounted around the borders is working well, so that we don't have cross-border illegal threat and urban and rural criminality here.
Back here to the economic capital, Douala, we're now going to talk about a 14-year-old child who was died after being severely beaten by the father in the Douala 2 subdivision. Nadesh Minleme was severely beaten, according to witness accounts, by the father, and that was last Saturday. She incurred injuries and she died earlier today, and her mortal remains were taken out of the home in the neighborhood in the Douala 2 subdivision, notably in the New Bell neighborhood today, by the National Gendarmerie, notably elements of the New Bell Territorial Brigade of the National Gendarmerie, and taken to the New Bell District Hospital. The father of the deceased, Dodina Serafin, 40 years old, is now under detention as investigations continue by the Territorial Brigade of the National Gendarmerie in the New Bell neighborhood. Take a listen to this witness.
The junior sisters of the dead girl came and said she went out. She was having cut on her body. She came late. Her dad beat her. She did not want to let her dad know that she's having cut on her. So now, when her dad beat her, and that is when her junior sister now told her dad that she's having cut. Then they took her to the small pharmacy beside. That's when now they took, as they take 2 small pansement on her, came back home. She stayed at home 2 weeks. Those cuts were on her body for 2 weeks already. Before now, it's just the day before yesterday when they discovered that the thing have already gone up on her. That's when her father came and called the auntie, and they took the child to the hospital. When they went out to the hospital, they came back in the house. Yesterday evening, they still went with her at New Bell. They said that let them just go back. They wanted to put her in the black room, but there was no money for that, so they sent them back home.
And health authorities in the Republic of Cameroon have continued urging the population to remain vigilant and to continue respecting all the anti-COVID-19 measures, as the country is now counting 18,600 COVID-19 cases in the country. And out of the 16 or 18,600 COVID-19 positive cases in the country, the Nkonsamba Health District since 5 months has recorded a total of 30 positive cases of COVID-19, and among the cases, 11 hospital staff among the 30 cases recorded in Nkonsamba. Details with Innocent.
It is the first time the Nkonsamba Health District communicates its COVID-19 statistics. During a press briefing, the Health District Chief and Director of the Nkonsamba Regional Hospital, Dr. Mangalankwele Fulbert, revealed that out of 700 persons tested so far in the Health District, 30 are positive, amongst them 11 hospital staff. 1 person died of the epidemic, while others recovered and regained their homes.
Tous les autres patients testés positifs sont actuellement déclarés guéris. Nous n'avons actuellement aucun patient.
Redoubling vigilance, according to health professionals in Nkonsamba, is imperative since the COVID-19 is real. This as they note that the barrier measures are no longer respected by the population.
Ces statistiques nous permettent de confirmer de porter à la population de Nkonsamba que le virus est bel et bien parmi nous.
To him, these measures like wearing of masks and the social distance must be respected in public places like markets, churches and so on.
Nous voudrons que la population continue à respecter ces mesures surtout dans les églises.
Adding to the regional hospital, the Lone Care Center is installation of 10 screening points in the city's major junctions, markets and other public places.
C'est une activité qui va se dérouler sur à peu près 2 semaines, d'aider à faire une sensibilisation globale sur le Covid.
Around 100 persons are also receiving training to go out to the field in order to detect COVID-19 cases.
En vue du testing, du tracking et du traitement de tous les patients qu'on peut trouver dans la communauté porteurs de Covid.
According to doctors, awareness of the existence of this pandemic must resume to avoid another death, whereas adequate sanitation materials have been put at the disposal of the population of Kongsamba.
Dans le cours de cela, nous avons reçu du chef de l'État un bon nombre de matériels consistants qui nous accompagnaient à l'occasion.
In a release published August 24 by the Minister of Public Health, the government's response plan is satisfactorily effective as Cameroon today attains a percentage rate of 91% for recovered cases, 2.1% lethality rate, severity rate less than 0.5%, bed occupancy rate varies between 4% and 6%. Thus, out of 18,600 positive cases, close to 200 are hospitalized, 8 in oxygen and 408 deaths. Despite this, Dr. Manauda Malachi calls on health personnel in various health districts across Cameroon to remain vigilant and multiply efforts in containing spread of the pandemic through sensitizations, screenings, trainings, and so on. Also, the population must be responsible by sticking to barrier measures, especially constant washing of hands and wearing of face masks in public places.
Authorities of the Douala seaport are enhancing efforts to ensure the fluidity of business activities in that maritime transport facility serving the nation and the rest of the Central African sub-region. Officials of the dredging authority of the seaport have several challenges on their shoulders, notably that of clearing the bed of the Uri River and ensuring that it is rid of mud, weeds and rubbish. The director and deputy director of the dredging authority were commissioned into their functions today by the general manager of the Douala Port Authority. Now, for greater details, listen to Samuel Ngondi Eboa and Idris Behe, director and deputy director respectively of the dredging authority. Take a listen.
All the resources that are just put in our disposition, we have to mobilize the material, the equipments, and then human beings. We are going just to fulfill our duty and to be in rendezvous of what we are supposed to do. We need to. We need just the Port Autonome for Douala to be performant, to earn enough money to make this country developed.
We have many challenges. The first one is to show to the world and our surrounding countries that we Cameroonians, we have capabilities to take our destiny in our hand by dredging our rivers. And the dredging costs will now becoming very high. So one of the key challenges is to lower the cost, to show that we can manage this activity with less expenditure. And also another challenge is the technical challenges, that to maintain our equipment on better condition, so that in 10-20 years we can still have the same equipment on very good condition, to maintain them as new as we can. That's our challenge. Also, our challenge is, dredging is life. Dredging brings life. Another challenge that were given by our hierarchy is that we can extend the port going towards the sea by discharging all the material by creating land all over the riverside of the Vuri.
And back to the problem of floods in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. Some victims are urging the government to ensure that sustainable or better still long-lasting solutions are provided to the problem before the next rainy season. And they were speaking to us today after receiving aid from the President of the Republic at the Wuri Prefect's office here in Douala. Take a listen to the senior divisional officer of the Wuri division, Butu Benjamin, and some of the flood victims.
This is a problem of solidarity, and the head of state, His Excellency Paul Biya, think that after the damage we can see in the night of the 20 and 31 August, it is possible that we can go to help the population who don't have more to live.
My house was overflowed on Friday. I was not in the house the time it was raining, and so rainwater destroyed almost everything in my house. We thank the government for coming to help us. I am bringing that they should solve the problem of flood.
Thank you, sir. I'm Yumsi Shimbagi Bruno. Affiliately calling us, I'm the national coordinator for Sinamutak, the national syndicate or motorbike rider. Last week, we are very, very affected by inundation. Water come everywhere, outside, cross by the windows, take everything away. I lost many things. Now I'm very happy about the aid for government.
Now to the southwest region of the country. Before we go over to the second segment of this newscast, we're going to talk about some inhabitants of the southwest region of the country, and they have been urged by the delegate of public health to continue respecting the barrier measures against COVID-19. The regional delegate of public health has called on both state and non-state groups to protect health personnel sent to the ground to save the population. Dr. Ebongo Zacchaeus Nanje was speaking in Boya during the Southwest Regional Coordination meeting in the town. Derek Jato reports.
The ongoing war in the Anglophone regions and public health care delivery.
Many of our health staff and infrastructure have been vandalized. Because of the crisis, many partners are feeling reluctant to come to our assistance because of the insecurity.
Amidst the crisis, the health personnel in the Southwest region are converging on Boya for the first semester regional coordination meeting.
On the theme strengthening surveillance to better manage epidemics. You see, the Southwest region is very peculiar.
And Dr. Ebongo Zacchaeus Nanje, Southwest Regional Delegate of Public Health, also reminded his collaborators in the region of the need to reinforce for a better healthcare delivery.
District teams to go back and reinforce their surveillance system so as to have early warning signs of epidemics within the region.
And concerning COVID-19 statistics in the Southwest region, there is some good news.
Our curve is almost flattening. We are not having too many cases as we used to have before. But however, just as I say all the time, it's not as though COVID-19 is out of the Southwest region. It is still there, and we think from the way we look at things, COVID-19 is going to be with us for quite some time.
With attacks on health personnel also making headlines.
It's not easy for them for work to really pray.
The population and the war actors on the ground were equally called upon to respect and protect these health personnel sent to save lives in the region.
And we wrap up the first part of this newscast in the OPEC city of Limbe, where the newly installed elected Limbe 1 council mayor has taken the oath of office at the court of first instance in Limbe, of course, and she promised to execute her duties, to carry on with her duties in line with the oath taken today. Details with Davidson Maimo.
I swear on my honor and pledge to conduct the affairs of the council and serve the interest of all its inhabitants without discrimination or favoritism.
The oath taken gives her the authority to comfortably execute her function as a mayor to Limbe 1 Council.
After my swearing in, I think I have to take the baton to do those things I could not do when I was not sworn in, because I hadn't the powers. But now I've taken an oath, I've been given the mandate to sign those documents.
Elected in office on June 25th by acclamation after the demise of the mayor, Ranimboa Mokako, Madam Florence Eposi says her immediate priority is the well-being of the populace of Limbe 1 municipality.
I call on my people to join me so that we work as a team and make sure Limbe is a good place where other people would like to come and visit.
She added that being a woman, gender equality so as to promote other women into politics is equally part of her agenda.
Plenty, mommy, they don't know, say, can we stay, fine. A paper, it talk. If you not get marriage certificates, when I don't stay for marriage for 20 years, hold water, you no go feel gain anything from your husband.
The new mayor has a huge task that lies ahead of her, as she is taking over a council that is heavily indebted, months of unpaid workers' salaries, and the total disenclavement of the entire Limbe 1 municipality.
There's problems everywhere. It is not only in Limbe, it is short-lived. We are going to salvage the situation if all of us put our hands together and work together as a team.
Talking Point is up next. Thanks for staying with us in Talking Points. Today we are receiving a member of Cameroon's lower house of parliament, Honorable Fonge Julius. Is a member of parliament for the Kupe Moniguba 2 constituency. You're welcome, Honorable.
Thank you.
All right, part of your constituency is in trouble, so to speak. Not the Anglophone crisis, but this time around, landslide, mud flow, with the heavy downpour causing enormous destruction at the level of farmlands, roads, bridges, and so on. Can you give us more details on that?
Yeah, thank you. As you said, part of my constituency, precisely the area known as the Mbo hinterlands, made up of Upper Nkongo clan, Nkongombeng clan, and Lower Mbo, on the night of 21st Friday, breaking Saturday, got up to a horrific situation where 4 of theirs, 3 buried in mud, and another swept by fast-flowing streams were recorded dead.
So 4 persons
4
died
persons,
in this.
yes. 3 from the village in Upper Nkongo called Lebok, and 1 at Etabang village in Lower Mbo. In addition to that, that day we had 12 homes in Lebok and Jongo either totally or partially destroyed by landslide, and 7 homes in Kongombang with their popular village known as Mbeta, also totally or partially destroyed, leaving these families in total desperation.
Approximately how many persons have been rendered homeless by this incident?
Now, in terms of numbers, we are talking, my area is an area where In fact, our people have the tendency, the fecundity rate there is very high. So we are talking of an average of about 7 to 8 per homestead. In addition to that, we have external or extended family members, living in most of these homesteads. So we can put it around a neighborhood of about 200. Out of that, people have been affected in various ways. You just mentioned
farmlands.
Yeah, farmlands is the area is basically made up of peasants, and they have as mainstay agriculture, either cash crops or food crops. So taking into consideration that we are talking about, planting season, particularly for food crop, is March, and harvesting season is November, and then the growing season is presently.
This is the middle of
the season. We are seeing a situation which presently people might not actually see it, because they're still living from the stored food of the last season. In the month of September, the month of October, the month of November, we are going to have a situation where there will be total hunger in the area. In addition to that, schools are coming, and we know if we're talking about cash crops, then a good number of parents will not be able to either send their children to school, because from October we're still talking about harvest of cocoa. And if they're not capable of selling this cocoa, they will not be able to have enough money to be able to take care of the children in school. And then what about hunger? Children go to school, they need to eat.
This is coming to further complicate the situation, which has already been made very difficult with the crisis, the security crisis, and the COVID-19 situation, and every other or the other difficulties in the area.
You can say that again. Recently, as MP, we had to put in a lot to be capable of fighting COVID in our area. Now this one is also coming. So it compounds the suffering of our people. It actually compounds the suffering of the people. Because we have just we've just given the figure 200, but if you go and look at it, these are the people who are directly affected. But almost the entire clan, which is made up of about 3,000 to 4,000 persons, in one way or the other, have been touched by the crisis. In addition to that, from the images that you just showed, you realize that bridges have been cut. The roads at various points have been put into total disuse. In fact, I was giving a report to the administration. We have areas where you have gullies and valleys to the depth of about 40 meters and about 30 meters wide have been created on the roads. And in some other areas, you have deposits. So it's a kind of contrasting situation. The areas you have
where the road is damaged, other areas where the road is blocked.
No, you have areas where it is blocked because the landslide has deposited mud and debris on the road. And then there are other areas where it has been cut because the erosion has broken part of the road and carried and created gullies, to about 40 meters deep. So it makes some repairs in the near future a little bit difficult, because in such places the roads have to actually be diverted.
How bad are the risk to which the people are exposed to, notably as regards the roads? We saw the images in this newscast, somebody struggling to cross somewhere on some few sticks that have been placed across, and the valley right to his left, a deep valley.
Yes. You have that situation. You can see that immediately after the last heavy landslide, the villagers came as one man and tried to create some passageway close to a hill, which in itself may not stand the test of time, a few days from now, depending on whether we're still going to have heavy rains or downpour. On the other hand, we could see people struggling to cross a valley, a river. That river, I know it personally, is found in Beta. It used to be just a small stream. But today, if you look at the pictures very well, you realize that as a result of massive erosion, gullies have been created. And they are wide. That means that even putting a small kind of bridge in any way, will not be possible. So these are the difficulties that we have. And if the rains are heavy, then they'll come with large streams, which will make it difficult for people to cross from one part of the village to another.
How recurrent is this problem of landslide and mud flow in the area?
Yeah, from my childhood memory, I know that in 1973, there was one heavy one. In fact, that one took place directly behind my house. Subsequently, we had small landslides by the roadside, but we've not had what we had this last time. But for, I think, 2017, when again there was a massive landslide. But the good thing about the 2017 landslide was that the erosion followed the riverbeds. So
the damage was
the damage to the community was there, but you see, we didn't record loss of lives. My cousin's house was swept. 3 houses, in one spot, was swept away. But this time around, we have recorded what? People dying, buried in the rubble. And if you, the person who was reporting, the village person we sent to do the reporting, started counting the different areas of the erosion, the different parts of the road that have been affected by the erosion. At a certain point, after having gotten to about 10, he said, I have lost count. I have lost count. So that is the situation.
Oh, what have the authorities been doing, the council and the administrative authorities? What have they been doing to solve the problem?
As I said, we have had erosions in the past. The council, the government, they have particular responsibilities. They come time and again to make sure that the place is accessible. That one they have been doing a marvelous job. We have never had the kind of challenge we are facing this time around. We have never had the kind of challenge we are facing this time around because they have never failed in maintaining the roads. The roads have always been passing. They have always passed. And until recently, they passed.
Before that incident,
before this incident, they passed. Even the 2017 erosion did not, perturb or stop the council and the government from carrying out their repair works on the road. This, they do it at least on a biennial or once or twice a year. So they have been doing that. But, things happen. And this time around, the erosion was massive. Probably because of some seismic activity, which you and I, we are not competent enough to explain.
We cannot control. Okay, some of the people in your constituency listening to you now would want to know, what is their honorable doing? What is he planning to do? You said earlier that you sent a report to the administration to indicate the situation on the ground.
When situations like this happens, we have what we call crisis response strategy. We have to tackle this short term and long term. The very first thing is that you have to report to the authorities. That one we have done. And we are very sure that with the president's awareness of what is happening throughout the republic, he has gotten that report, and maybe in the days ahead, he's going to react just like he has been reacting in other places. Now, on an individual base, the first thing we have struggled to do, I have struggled to do, is I had to send people there to get me those images, and then send people to go rescue the situation in one way or the other. For example, I spoke with some elites and a good number of persons were sent to the village to go and see about, the magnitude of the situation. And we are preparing to send some form of relief, some kind of relief, to assist the people who are in dire need.
To the victims.
To the victims.
All right. In terms of long-term solution, in your opinion, what do you think can be the long-term solution that can kind of put an end to this or reduce the frequency?
Now, since our people, African people, are so tied to their tradition, the very best of long-term solution would have been to resettle them. But this may not be considered as a solution by the people themselves who are so attached to, the
ones who remain on their ancestral land.
On their ancestral land. So if tomorrow we are to have a meeting, as we are struggling to organize one, I'm going to propose to them that there are some flat land areas there. People can leave the hills and settle in this flat land and use the hills rather as farmland. The problem with us is that each family wants to live in what we call their family land. So we have what we call scattered settlement. And being a hilly environment, a kind of mountainous, because our area is the line, what we call the Mount Cameroon chain. It's a continuation of the Mount Cameroon chain. Yes. So we live there. And most of the, like you go to Kongsamba, you see most of the houses are
on the hills.
On the hills. So but with this frequent movement of the earth, as whenever it rains, it will be good that either we'll advise them, either that if they have to actually live in that situation, then they should dig. They should construct their homes about 10, 15, 20 meters from the last
from the bottom of the hills.
The bottom of the hills, so that the last point where they have excavated, so that even if we have to have erosion, the mud should not immediately affect.
It should not get into the homes directly.
Yes.
All right.
We didn't even talk about the other issues.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yes, there are other issues.
You have some few minutes.
Okay. There are other issues. One, the people are going to suffer a lot from what we call, waterborne diseases, because we used to have 4 catchments, water catchments. One in Jongo, one in Zetet, one in Lebok, and one in Beta. These have been covered by mud. So no accessibility to
potable water.
And then electricity, the poles are all blown. The main transformer, the poles have all fallen, the main transformer is blown. So there's total darkness in the area. The roads have made it impossible for traders to come in or traders to move out. Vehicles can no longer get in and they cannot go out. So if you have illnesses which is impossible for the local doctors to take, local medical personnel to take care, it becomes difficult to transport these persons to nearby hospitals.
Something has to be done for the people of Mbo hinterland in order to bring solutions to these problems affecting them. Thanks, Honorable Fonge Julius, Member of Parliament for Kupe Manikuba 2. Thank you for coming today.
You're welcome.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Goodbye.